Namaste, and welcome to another series of our insightful conversations at Aurobharati. My name is Belu Mehra. I am Senior Academic Mentor at Aurobharati and also the editor of monthly e-journal Renaissance. And in this series, we have been inviting various guests who have been gracious and kind enough to share with us some of the work they have been doing in terms of bringing a new form, giving a new form to the eternal spirit of India, and how new India, an Indian spirit can be reborn in new form through their work. So this is the core of the work at Aurobharati, to look at how the eternal spirit of India is being renewed in newer forms and being expressed and shared in new ways. So today we have with us wonderful team of guests, pair of guests with us. Dr. Bhavna Bhare, welcome. I hope I'm saying the last name correctly, but Badhe, right?
Yes.
And Sushrut Badhe. I will just briefly introduce each of them and then the topic that we'll be discussing today. Dr. Bhavna is a senior pathologist, a full professor at JIPMER. She has held very high positions there, including the head of the Department of Pathology at JIPMER. And she has written a wonderful book based on some of her work with children it's called Krishna's Butter for Champion Students, a textbook for champion students. And she has been sort of the Matra Shakti behind this wonderful project that is going on called Krishna's Butter, which is to take the message, the insight, the wisdom of Srimad Bhagavad Gita to young children, both in face-to-face classes and as well as in online forums as well. So we'll talk more about that. And Bhavna ji is accompanied with Sushrut Bade, who is an engineer turned author and poet. And I guess I could say that he's an engineer by profession or by qualification, but a Krishna's lover by heart's disposition. So welcome, Sushrut. I have been following some of your work, your writings, and Sri Aurobindo's action. And so we have had the pleasure of meeting several times before in various contexts. But Bhavna ji, it's really wonderful to meet with you for the first time. And I'm really happy to have both of you as our guests, because I think since we started in June, this series of conversations, this is the first time we have, we had first one other guest from Pondicherry, but this is the second time we have another set of guests from Pondicherry. So, the kind of work Pondicherry is leading in terms of renewing the Indian spirit, we have to be very happy and grateful for that. So I guess that's the Sri Aurobindo's and Mother's vision working in action. So real Sri Aurobindo's action going on. So with that brief introduction, let me get to the topic for today, which is taking the word of Bhagavad Gita, taking the song of Sri Krishna to the children, so to the youth of India. And your team has given this a wonderful name, Krishna's Butter. So I'll just go with that and say, how are you able to, hopefully in this conversation, we'll be able to share with our audience how you are taking the Krishna's butter, the sar of Gita to young children and to the youth of India. So let me begin with you, Bhavna ji. My first question to you would be, what inspired you? What was your inspiration behind this book that you wrote and the work that you started with? I believe the first school you started was with Vidya Niketan in Pondicherry. So can you just walk us through a little bit in terms of the journey of how that work started and what has been your experience with that so far?
Namaste, Beluji. It's really my pleasure to be here with you today. And I wish to first tell about the name itself, Krishna's butter. Actually, this name was given by our guide and guru, Sri Damleji, because it naturally came to his mind that what children would love to have is what Sri Krishna is to love to have, that is the butter. And that butter, generally Sri Krishna distributed to all the kids. So our children, if they learn, they also will distribute to all their friends. So this wonderful name of Krishna's butter came into picture because of Sri Damleji. And my inspiration behind this work was basically, I'm in teaching profession for a very long time. I teach the postgraduates and undergraduates of medical profession. And during my tenure of teaching, I often felt that the education is bringing and building a lot of intellectual growth in our students. But I've noticed that the inner satisfaction comes only when you fulfill, there is a fulfillment of values within yourself. So that fulfillment of values is, I think, is not focused much in our educational system. There is a lot of intellectual prosperity coming, but many of the educated individuals have told me that they suffer from inside, something is missing, that kind of thing. So there is something that is required to give that inner satisfaction by building up values and strong persons in the field of education. And I find Bhagavad Gita is really a great protocol that has been given by Sri Krishna to Arjuna in the battlefield of Kurukshetra 5,000 years back. But it is like beyond time book, or it is beyond time scripture, which really gives us how to go about to build up strong persons within ourselves. So with this inspiration, I went to Sri Damleji, and I just wished that, I want to participate in a small way. I want to have some kind of building blocks given to the children, because if you catch the students when they are at young age, I believe it takes it better when it is given from a very early age. So I felt that something can be done from the school age only. So with this wish, I went to my guru, Sri Damleji, and I asked him that I wish to do something like that. So he said, he is a person with very much importance of practicals, not only information that is to be there in the brains of the children. So he said, you will bring one more book that is not going to solve. There are many books on Bhagavad Gita. So you start teaching to the students of the school. Now I'm a working lady. I tried to find a school nearby, and Vidya Niketan school was near my working place. So I wished to go to that school, and I went there, and then I met Padma Rani ji, the correspondent of that school. She was overwhelmed with my idea. She said, yes, why not? I will definitely give you this chance. So when you wish to come? So we decided to take up 20 minutes class during my lunch hours in the school, twice in a week for total. I said, I want to take all the adhyayas for them. So this work started with a discussion with Sri Damleji on a regular basis, and we try to turn out the shlokas from 700 shlokas of Bhagavad Gita, some limited number of shlokas to be selected, which will build the value education from Bhagavad Gita for school children. So with this, simultaneously meetings and simultaneously going to the school and teaching, and I took a total 19 classes. First was introduction, and also that resulted into demand from the students there that it is necessary to get a backup paperback for this particular, and that's how the Sri Krishna's Butter for Champion Student, this book came into picture. So the blessings of Sri Damleji, I went ahead and just this is what was the inspiration behind, to build up strong personalities.
I think what's really wonderful is that the book came out of your experience of actually interacting with the children, with working with the students. So yes, that is excellent. I want to know a little bit more about your experience with the students at Vidya Niketan. But before we come to that, let me bring into our conversation Sushrut as well. Let's spend a little bit time talking about his book, The Rhythm of Krishna. right? So I want to know again, like what inspired you to do that book in, the at that young an age, and sort of like, briefly touching upon your journey from engineering to poetry. So if you can just talk a little bit about that, that will be great.
Yes, yes. Yes. So it was in class six that I wrote my first poem. But after that, my teacher felt I had copied it, and she never accepted it as for a publication. So I never wrote a poem after that. I went to my engineering, and though I was in Pondicherry, I knew nothing of Mother and Sri Aurobindo. I was somehow in my own world of thoughts and my own personal ambitions. I wanted to play sports. All of that was going on. Somewhere in my final year, I got introduced to Damleji, and that was where I think my turn, my connection with Mataji and Sri Aurobindo started. Where he had given me a book, Correspondence with Sri Aurobindo by Dr. Nirodharan. And there it is very beautiful, the dialogue between Dr. Nirodharan and Sri Aurobindo, how a young Dr. Nirodharan is learning poetry also, and the jokes and everything. That was my introduction, and it was something which very naturally, that was the only book Ramleji first gave me. And that was my connection with what we can say, first connection with Sri Aurobindo. So then one more thing Ramleji keeps quoting about Sri Aurobindo's perfection in work is spirituality. He specifies on the practical. So somewhere in my final year, I had to take a call whether I go abroad for my MSc or I stay with Ramleji and learn, because I felt I had gone to him only to learn pranayam because I had a sinus infection. And I knew he's some senior person who will really teach youngsters, and he is welcoming. That was all I knew. I had no idea about anything else. But as my dialogues went on, I realized I do not know anything about Bharat, about India. I do not know anything about the traditional culture, what we have, the great science, what esoteric wisdom is there. There was nothing. So I thought somehow maybe I can fast forward my learning in 1 year and then go abroad. So I started staying with Damleji with the permission of my parents. But somewhere in after 1 year, I felt in 1 year कुछ सीखा नहीं जा सकता. It's not a crash course. Bharat is a lifelong journey we have to understand. So somehow I took a call, and maybe I think I have to decide. I thought this is the best place. It's like in one place I can learn so much. So I joined Amleji, and then he has an Ayurvedic Karyalaya. I would learn different things. It was what we can say, a kind of an open university where what you wish to learn, you learn. And he would introduce me. He had all the collections, the complete works of Sri Aurobindo, but he told me, I don't want you to read it until you are ready to read it. First, he said, you get your mind strong, body should be strong, pran should be perfectly in order. Man, sharir, pran, buddhi, all these four aspects must be made in order. Only then is what Ramneji specified. So that was how it was going on. But he even tried to introduce Gita to me, but I was restless. And my mother is also here. Dr. Bhavna also wanted me to read the Gita. I would actually cover my ears and no, not now. I want to go outside. And I kept running away. I even got abridged version of the Gita, and I took it to college and lost it on the first day. Someone from the ashram had given it to me. Then I felt so guilty that I didn't go visit that person also, because she would have asked me, what have you done with the book? So that was how I was away from the Gita. Damleji just tried to introduce in the early mornings after pranayam. He started reading some adhyayas of the Gita. And he saw that my concentration is still not strong enough. So he said, you wait. The time will come when you are ready, you start. And then a few years passed. It was like 3-4 years with Damleji. Suddenly on a Hanuman Jayanti, I don't know what happened. Really speaking, normally people have a more agenda and I want to do a project. It was not like that. I just got a very strong inspiration that day. We had a reading of Hanuman Chalisa by Damleji also. After that, I just came to Damleji and I said, I want to write Gita in rhymes. I had already published my first book by then. It was around 2013, end or 14. And actually, I was surprised. Damleji said, okay, go ahead. If he had told me no, I would not have attempted. But he said, okay, so I think, okay, fine, we've got the green signal. So then I took the essays on the Gita. There were 2 online commentaries of different Vaishnava saints as well. So I would take essays on the Gita, take one shloka, study Sri Arvind's interpretation, look at some reference, and write. And I had a habit of, even now it is a habit I'm not able to stamp out, of writing in rhymes. So I started. It was an extra constraint, but that was what was coming to me. Like the spirit of that should, what I understood, I tried to make it into rhymes. It was not like a plan also as such. It was giving me joy. I was getting the chance to explore, and it would take a long time. Sometimes I would not agree with the shloka, and like Yogastha Kuru Karmani Sangam Tyaktva Dhananjaya. My question was, Sangha is friendship is also Maitri is a Sangha. Is Krishna telling me to break my friendship? I don't like it. I don't want to agree with this. And because I did not agree, I could not go ahead. There were places where I'd stop. Sometimes I would stop for a month and it would not go ahead. Then some life experience would actually tell me where when I saw the friends were not connecting with me. Then I felt what happened. Why is my friend not interested? This book got declared as a record, the first online version, and I had given a big list of thank yous to 9 of my friends. None of my friends bothered to even read, even if their name was there. I was a little disappointed, and but then I remembered Krishna's sloka, and then with a heavy heart, I said, "Okay, I agree. I think I should not have this expectation even from my friends." The moment I agreed, I don't know, 4 days later, two of my friends called me and said I was a little busy. I read your work. It's cool. I like it. It's all right. Go ahead. But that was the experience. So different places it went on, and I do not know exactly how, but over a year it became 1.5 years. The all shlokas got rendered into rhymes. I was even surprised when that was declared a record. I had just simply applied. And I actually thought there was a mistake. I tried contacting other people whom I thought had made records on this. That it's like, no, this is the first time Gita in rhymes. But I think again, I think Guru Krupa, Sri Arvinda's Krupa, Mataji Krupa, Krishna's Krupa, I don't know. I think that is probably, like they say, Mukam Karoti Vachalam, Pangum Langayate Girim, Yat Krupatamam Mande, Paramananda Madhava. So something like that. A Mudha also has been able to render in rhymes, is my opinion. That has happened. Nothing very specific, Veluji. Yes, ji.
Thank you. Thank you. This was
I am.
wonderful. And I think some of the things you mentioned connects very well with what Bhavna ji was also alluding to. You know, the first thing is to have that strong personality and how Bhagavad Gita can be used, effectively to give those kind of message to the students. And your experience really illustrates, I guess, you could be one of the first children, the first youngsters that Bhavna ji's book would be reaching out to in that sense. If you were a little younger and, studying again at Vidya Niketan.
I could have been better. I could have become better if I got it earlier.
But you had to go on your own journey and figure out the sar of Gita, the butter of Gita in your own way. So Bhavna ji, here we have Sushrut, another young person whose life has been touched so deeply with the message of the Gita. What has been your experience in terms of when you started working with children at Vidya Niketan? What were the kind of responses you got? First of all, you mentioned the administration was very open and welcoming. Was there from any quarter, any resistance that this might be bringing? How in Indian mindset, due to various reasons, which we need not go into it, anything to do with Indian scriptures or Bhagavad Gita has been, or bringing religion into a secular institution. Did you see any kind of resistance like that? Or
I would like to give a beautiful day of example in my own institute where in the board of studies, I was attending a meeting, and there I said that we should have the scriptures kept in the curriculum for even the medical students. So I got the answer that no, we are secular, we cannot have that here. So I just kept quiet because it was not taken. The board of studies is a big, like many people are involved there. So there was no scope there. So I felt like that. Then I went to one more school where I wished to give Gita book to the principal of the school, and he said, yes, I will call you later. And I never got a phone call from him. So in my own, my brother in Nagpur, where I wanted to talk about what I'm doing about Gita, there was a great resistance from parents, my own brother, real brother. As if I'm not supposed to speak this with students. They have to go ahead with science, that kind of thing. So I can't say everything is so smooth, but I'm so lucky to have Padma Ravani ji in my small inspiration is taken into a big tree only because of her. So I wish to thank her today that she never said no to me. And in fact, she introduced us so beautifully. First day when we went, Sri Damleji also, I invited that he should be there to take it when the students should take it seriously. So Padma Raniji, myself, Sushrut, and Sri Damleji, all of us went into the class. And this school is supposed to be a student-friendly school. Their goals are not for 100% merits students from their. They want individuals with a student-friendly approach. So that was the best thing in that school. I felt that children were free to talk to each other during the class. That nonsense discipline was not there, that you're not going to see her, see there, nothing. They were very free, all types of, and there was not a great crowd. There was 30, 35 people. And I say that was ninth class student of Vidya Niketan. First day when I went, I was introduced with the introduction of how importance of Atman in life. She already presented. I mean, she has taught them meditation. She has taught them about Atman. So people were ready to listen to her. It was a great day that I could go to a school like this where there was things ready to go ahead with. And while taking, everything was helped by Sri Damleji, because each value that is to be put in our practice has to start from day one of Bhagavad Gita. So we have taken one by one with the other students. I just left them free, no force. You have to learn, nothing like that. I'm just going, talking. If they are making too much noise, I will say, okay, no, you be quiet. Let us all chant. They were knowing shlokas from Bhagavad Gita and all. So somewhat interactively, like that, I went on. The best I got is at the end of my 19 classes. So, and last day I said, just tear one paper from your book and write down what you have learned from our classes on Bhagavad Gita. And what I got, oh my God. I mean, I was so excited. Directly from the school, I went to Sri Damleji with bundle of papers, and with great happiness, we read their feedback. Every feedback was positive. Every feedback was like insight in their own life. After knowing Gita, I knew this, I knew I should not be angry. So many beautiful things. I'll just read out one small feedback from that first batch, if you don't mind. Okay, this is a feedback we have got in the book itself, so that so it is from Robin Kumar Brahmo. Okay, he has written. This school was not full of English and that. They were having their own language. So we kept it that way only, this one. From this Gita class, I have learnt about life. We have to offer our works to God. We have to lead a divine life. By meditation, we can reach our soul. Soul never dies. Our soul tells us what to do and what not to. We have to lead a life like a good person. We have to not acquire bad qualities. This is what they got it from Gita class. So it is only one. I have got a full bundle. I wish to read many times. I feel very happy that I get connected with each word that they write. And it was full of light. It was full of light that, yes, whatever Shri Krishna has in his Gita, they are ready and receptive to take it. That was the best thing that I could have, the result of my first batch. And now we have about 64 batches. We have continued. I think Sushrut can tell about how we went into online. Yeah.
Yes. We would go to that online, how you went into the online format as well. But what I really find very interesting is that as you were teaching, I think the way I understand is your methodology was evolving, right? What you were sharing, how you would share, in what language, or in what, in what chunks, because things cannot be given as is to the students. They have to be broken down into sort of digestible doses, if you will. So, if Sushrut, you could speak a little bit about the methodology for this Krishna's Butter project, and what are there specific messages or insights from Bhagavad Gita that you sort of highlight in your classes? If you could speak a little bit about that.
Yes, Veluji. So that is true actually, because we cannot go talk about moha and also children of class 8 and class 6. Desire, you should not, it's right, desires are bad, but How do we tell that to children? Because now it's a big question. And the interesting part was when this project was started, I think Dr. Bhavna and Amliji would discuss for a long time. Actually, I remember the first day when mother came with the idea, I want to teach Bhagavad Gita for kids. This was her strong dialogue. And Namdeji said, you quiet, don't speak today, you come tomorrow. This is a very big thought. I need to digest this thought first. How it is, because he knows Bhagavad Gita is something which people read only at the late. Many people have the idea that it should be read late. I had some of my relatives tell me, no, this is not your age. You should date Gita. I should not read Gita. This is absolutely not the right age. And now when we are trying to go to children, so they had no reference. So Damleji had decided that let us use ourselves as a reference. So when he and Dr. Bhavna tried to go back to their childhood and talk about, you cannot talk maybe about deep desires, but you can talk about chocolates as an example. The chocolate is in, you do one chocolate, you're eating a chocolate, maybe you're not able to control, it's fine, okay, eat a chocolate. But tomorrow you're eating two, three, or you're doing your homework, so you get a chocolate. That is just a motivation which is divine only by chocolate. Are you going to do it for the chocolate or you are going to do it for understanding? So the question of we wanted to cover the principles of all 18 chapters without looking deep into the metaphysics of the Gita, which is not required. Children will understand and may even themselves go deep into those principles as they evolve. Same way that like at 8th Adhyaya is all about death. We have to introduce the concept of death. It's an important concept, but how we introduce it is important. Again, Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, all of this, Jnana Yoga also, how do we introduce? And the aspect of practical, one thing Ramleji was practical spirituality. How you are going to bring it in practice for the children? How are they going to introduce it? So first adhyaya, the first adhyaya is lesson. We looked at was what do we learn from the first adhyaya? It is always full of depression of Arjuna. What can we learn? Well, there was one good thing Arjuna did. He turned to Krishna. He turned to Krishna when he didn't know what to do. So that became the lesson, and Damliji made that as the first lesson: is when you are in trouble, when you do not know, if something is troubling you and you're not able to deal with it. There's nothing wrong in asking either your teacher, either your close friend, or your elder, just someone, but asking. So seek asking for help, and for that we had a illustration. If I can share that illustration also, may I share it, Beluji?
Yes, yes, you may. And Bhavna ji, may I request that
Yes.
I think Sushrut's voice may come out better if we both mute ourselves when he's speaking. So that way it may be easier. So yes, Sushrut, walk us through some of this.
Yes. Now, if you see the illustration, this illustration is by Preeti Pandurangan. She is an artist who herself came forward when she had the idea of making a book. We called upon to artists who want to contribute. So the idea was the first adhyay. This is the lesson where you see. Is it clear, Beluji? Yes. So if you see there's a child who is struggling with a jigsaw puzzle, he's not able to do it. So he asks for help, and then immediately the answer is God, and he's able to solve it. And the lesson, this is the final lesson. If we cannot find any solution, we must never hesitate to ask for help to a teacher or an elder or even a trusted friend. This aspect is very important even for when we take the adults class also. The same thing is told that when you are not you're not able to find a solution, it is not wrong to ask. When a big man like Arjuna, who is so powerful, can ask his friend, his guide, his elder, I don't think we should also hesitate. We need to find someone trustworthy and share if we have a problem. That was one lesson. And then Gita, though we did not focus on the what we can say pronunciation or memorization of the shlokas, the meaning of the shloka was something which is the screen. I think I'll stop sharing. Yes, Beluji. So the principles of the shlokas. So each adhyay, 3 to 4 shlokas were selected. Second adhyay alone was a little longer with more like 2 different sets of principles. So it was made into 2 lessons. The first part had 3 shlokas, second part another 3. And they used the rhyme version of Rhythm of Krishna was used for the children. That Dr. Bhavna will be able to say her experience. So she would make them recite the rhymes after reading out the Sanskrit shloka. So that was how it started. Again, it was going on well. Damleji had given the full direction to once make it a complete module. First batch was an experimental batch. Second batch became the first established batch because using that model, Krishna's butter. The name also was I remember Damliji saying, it did not take more than 2 minutes when we thought what to name the book. He said, what does Krishna like? Butter. So let the project be Krishna's Butter Project. And that name also stuck so nicely that now it is now a very strong name, the Krishna's Butter Project. Many are associating with Krishna's Butter Project only. So that was how it started, and slowly, I think it was a remarkable thing. Dr. Bhavna continued on her own for almost 2 3 years. It was going on in the schools, personally visiting, and she had such a strong passion that she didn't want to sit quietly. 2 days was not sufficient. She wanted on Saturday, Sunday also, though she works half day on Saturdays. She found one nearby school or training center for young children, much younger, maybe 4 years, 5 years, and along with the parents, she said, I will teach them. And it was very interesting for me to watch because here she, in the hospital, she talks with PG students. And when she interacts with children, she's all like, listen, listen, students, listen. There's a full change of personality. A primary school teacher is suddenly born inside of the classes. When there, she's absolutely different. It was a joy to watch, but what happened was people like parents wanted, there was one parent from Pondicherry, Chitra Nayakji. She wanted to join for her children. She has two beautiful daughters. She wanted them to learn the Gita. She joined with the aim of memorizing it, not for ever that this is going to be a learning experience. Someone told her that Dr. Bhavna is teaching here. She is nearby in the same, near your, in your neighborhood. So she went there. But she was so happy with the first batch that she again attended a second with her daughters. And then she came to Dr. Bhavna and said, I want to also teach. Can you train me to teach? And Dr. Bhavna was very happy because her aim is to spread to as many people. And so she trained her. And then almost it's like something people join, and we don't have any. It is a free program. Anybody wants can join. The training teachers also. It is not something which is some monetary remuneration is taking place, but it is going on. And during lockdown, though, we had a what we can say. Everybody had a speed breaker, complete halt. Lockdown brought about a halt to all the school activities. Schools were closed. That time, this Chitraji said, I am taking on Zoom to my relatives some chanting. Can we not try the Krishna's Butter project in Zoom? That was the only question which was asked by her. And we had a good meeting at our organization, and we really looked at it how it can be more curated. Then the images could be displayed, the shlokas could be done. Then we decided to use a software like WhatsApp for communicating, creating a group. Then the system was ready on how we want to do it. Now, who will come was the question, because we thought maybe some of our relatives may join initially. So we made a poster to circulate on Facebook. It was just the first poster, but I had also designed for anything. We were surprised in one day. I became like a call center. The next day, I was getting calls from all over India. My number was there, so and I had very different from Hyderabad. Somebody would say, Andy, Andy, I want to join the class. I didn't know who is talking to me, and I attended over 100 calls that day, and we got a little worried. This was getting overwhelming for in the first day when you have we planned for 15. Now we got 100, but we did not want to let go, and it was a dream, Damleji's dream. Dr. Bhavna, so I remember how she was so excited. I want to teach. Somebody come and learn. That was her status that time, and now there are children who are coming in large numbers. So she said, no, no, I will also arrange time, arrange for me after work, I will take Gita class. So we created first one batch, then we created two batch. 19-day workshops were designed on conducting, and every day the shlokas, for those who are interested in pronunciation, we are not saying it's not important. It is good to know pronounce properly. So they would be presented with the audios for memorizing at home if they wish to. But in the class, only practical, like stage fright. Arjuna also got something like stage fright. When you go to a competition, you have to speak on the stage. Look at what happened to Arjuna. So again, that principle from first adhyay, second adhyay, and Dameji gave a lot of fun everyday examples which connected very much with the children. And it was something which one batch started, and then we had to get more teachers because batches started increasing. And during lockdown, as everybody was at home, except Dr. Bhavna had to visit hospital, but others could. My sister also joined in, then one more person got trained. We had Chitra Ji started handling two batches, and now we have actually covered. It started in lockdown the digital batches, but we have covered over 2,500 children who have attended these 19-day workshops, and from all across the world. And we then, it started evolving in other languages also. Because Krishna's Butter book later on naturally got translated into 5 languages. People came forward and I want to offer, I want to translate, and they translated it to, got translated into Hindi first by Arvind Chandorkarji, then he only Marathi first by Arvind Chandorkarji, then into Hindi. Both he offered to Damleji, he considers Damleji as an elder and mentor and guru as well. He offered it to him, and we got very nice reviews. For the foreword was by a very famous yogi from Maharashtra, Kanve Guruji, who is the head of the Yoga Pyasi Mandal. And he asked us a question, and only then we realized that we had 100 shlokas. He said, I don't know how they selected 100 shlokas. By then it was all happening so fast. We did not even count how many shlokas we had selected for the program. And then after this, we got it translated into Malayalam. One wonderful Kiranjit Sharmaji, who is the headmaster of Kendra Vidyalaya. During lockdown, he got a temporary posting as the head of this Kendra Vidyalaya, Jipma. There, since we had released the Hindi book, while the Hindi book was released, during that time, we had presented a copy and expressed the wish that if it can get translated to another language. Within 2 months, he did not get authorization or he didn't get permission from the trust. He himself translated everything, read it into printable book, and came forward to us. Now we had a big dilemma on who is this person. He has translated it on his own. How has he got? Where has he got permission? So we tried to have a meeting with him. Before that, I recollect talking to him on the phone. I said, "You cannot just like that translate and publish. You have to get." He said, "No, I am not publishing. But I was told by the principal that this needs to be translated into Malayalam, and it was for Krishna. I have done a translation. I am giving it to you. If you like it, use it. If you don't like it, don't use it." And then we had a Zoom meeting with him, and it got published. Then the Tamil language also. It just went on. But the aspect of when it is connected with the ground, we have to implement it. There are people, children are waiting to learn, and they want to learn these. This was the interesting thing that we saw. Every batch would create new children would spread it. It's like Krishna's butter. You like it, you tell your friend or brother or sister. One 12-year-old Bade Bhaiya is calling for asking his 7-year-old sister. He is trying to book. He called me and he said, I want to book for my younger sister. She is very small. So I asked, how small? What is your age? He says he's 12 and his sister is 7. And he said, your age criteria, please relax for her. I want to, I also want to join, but I am little busy. But I really want to ensure she doesn't miss it. Now, this is the idea in young children. And the way they talk, I think Dr. Thanaji will be able to tell how, because these children start bouncing with questions after the classes, in the classes, that why is Krishna having this peacock feather only? Why is he not using any other feather? These are all some silly questions which sometimes are very difficult to answer. And each batch created a set of questions. But the most interesting thing where my picture came in, till then I was only for administering WhatsApp groups. I was not directly taking any classes for this in the Krishna's Butter project. I was just, what we can say, just doing the administrative part, creating waiting list groups, arranging, putting some messages. That's all I was doing. Now the children started asking about Rajas, Tamas and Sattva to parents. They started asking questions about this. This is Rajasic. And they started asking questions which parents did not know the answers to, because parents have been busy. They have never studied the Gita and now they were feeling guilty of not studying. So they approached our trust and told, you start a class for the adults. And that was when Damleji told me, you conduct the class. I was first afraid of directly taking a class for adults. I thought children, maybe I would get a chance to conduct for children. I was happy. But when I was told adults, I was a little not sure. But then Damleji, I asked again, Damleji, should I conduct? Am I supposed to? He said, yes, you are supposed to. So then there was no further dialogue on whether it is good or how I'm going to. I had to start preparing. And one batch was ready, 2 batches were ready. That time in lockdown, I was also not having any other work that way. Manufacturing, everything was stopped. So afternoon and evening, 2 batches were selected. Now until 3 days, the waiting list group is over, registrations are over. I was under the impression that I will teach Bhagavad Gita's this Krishna's butter model only. I will just talk to it in a little more elaborate way. That was what I thought. But then I got a little worry 48 hours before. I just went to Damleji and said, I cannot handle all. There are now 30 adults and this children's module is for children. I cannot take it for 45 minutes was my question. And I said, how do I take it for 45 minutes? There are only 3 shlokas or 4 shlokas. How can I talk to them and their problems will be different? They have lived their lives, they have their set of experiences. And then he said, who asked you to take the children's book? You have to take your book, Bhagavad Gita, Rhythm of Krishna. And that's when then I was a little, again, when you get others, you have to follow whether or not. One way it was advantageous that it was Zoom. I thought if tomatoes also come, rotten tomatoes will hit the screen and not come from the screen to my face. So I just like told Krishna's name, and we would begin with invocation to Ma Saraswati that give us inspiration and start. I thought at the most I may have to take 2 or 3 classes for the parents of these children and not more than that. But now it was after one batch, new batch started, and now it's been a year. Almost we have finished. I have taken 15 batches for adults, and the number of days has increased from 19 days to 29 days now. 45-minute session has become 1.5 hours session, and it's become interactive that we decide if you are not able to connect it practically, you please stop and tell why this shloka is not practical. And the best part is all participants are finding that the Gita is a manual, as Sri Aurobindo also talks about. It is for a manual for the human race only, for evolution, making us what we are meant to be in the future. And everybody are finding that relevance of the Gita. That is how it is going on. The children's batches also are now in 5 languages. 4 languages we have conducted online workshops. Avanti ji was trained by Damle ji and in Hindi. She herself conducted in 4 languages: Hindi, Tamil, and English and Marathi. Tamil teachers we are training, and process is ongoing, Beluji. But again, like you said in the beginning as well, Gita is something which the heart wants. The heart of India wants it. How it is going is the thing we have to ensure. Otherwise, it is definitely wanted. And we are seeing we have follow-up groups also, and the follow-up group for adults is around 200 people. They're all connected for almost a year now. Everybody is seeing that the Gita is something which has helped them in their everyday life. It is not making anyone lose connect with the world. Instead, it's making them what Sri Aurobindo says, the life divine we must all lead. Well, yes, Gita can help us go closer to Sri Aurobindo and understand his life divine also, which is ultimately a goal of what we can call all of us. Yes, Beluji.
Yeah, I think in that sense, I find your work really highly significant in terms of kind of that bridge, the Bhagavad Gita and then Sri Aurobindo's yoga. It's sort of the very important bridge. And Sri Aurobindo himself has said, the message of Bhagavad Gita, it has yet to liberate humanity. So taking that message to the children, I'm assuming when you say adults, these are the parents whose children are enrolled in the children's classes. No, not necessarily.
No, actually it started like that, but then now we have young adults from age 19 or 18 to 90 also. They are from,
okay.
Yes, but they are from everywhere by word of mouth. Yes.
So, Bhavna ji, I want to ask you if you can share a couple of examples, 1 or 2 examples of any particular rhyme that you share with children, and then correspondingly maybe the one that you share in your adults classes, in terms of how you, like a practical example, you gave the example of chocolate or something like that. Again, to specifically with children, Bhavna ji, if you can speak a little bit about that.
Okay.
You need to unmute yourself.
Please.
Sorry. Namaste. Beluji. I'm very interested to tell about one example. It's the same continued example of the chocolate, where we can say that it will tell them that above the body are Indriya, above the Indriya is mind, above the mind is Buddhi, and above Buddhi is Atman. So we just give the same chocolate example. We tell children that, see, you go in a room is empty, on a table, all kinds of chocolates are spread for you. You feel they are for you. Then your eyes and your mouth starts watering, your eyes tell, go there, chocolates are there. So here your Indriya are acting too, and then they are telling you, So you were standing in the door only, but something in you made you walk up to that. So your body and your indriya are now acting there, and they are trying to go near the chocolates. After that, your mind will say, "Oh no, I like this dark chocolate too much. I am going to eat dark chocolate." So I like. Mind will tell I like. So this is your mind that is reacting. So you take the chocolate, but your buddhi says, don't take so many. It will have pain in your stomach. Don't take it. Don't take so much. Here your buddhi is telling your mind. So you are controlling one by one. So your buddhi is telling that. But where is the Atman coming? Your Atman will come and tell, even if your buddhi has told, take only one chocolate. Suddenly your Atman will tell you, do you know which place you are standing at? Do you know whom this chocolates belong to? They will come and tell you that why did you eat it? How will you feel that time? So here is the Atman who is telling you what is right and wrong for you. So in stepwise manner, with the same picture that we have, that if we have to, our vehicle has to go to happiness. So the driver must be the divine himself. So this shloka, along with this picture, along with this example, everything fits into them. They know what is, how one should know Atman, and how Atman is going to tell them what is right and wrong about. So how it is above. And with this, we'll say that, yeah, your indriya are stronger than your body, isn't it? So they say, yes, 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 my eyes can see so many things, my body does not see. Then your mind is stronger than indriya, it will tell you are sleepy, you sleep eyes. So how? So it's a simple way that it is just day to day, our own examples of every small. In fact, we ask them to interact and they give their own examples. Like one child, can I tell one example? Yeah, one child, he told, when we talk about anger control, he gave a beautiful example. Almost 16, 17 days class was over for our Krishna's Butter batch. And he said, ma'am, I want to tell you my own example. I used to go on Saturday with my mom to the grocery center. And it is a mall that my mother used to take me there. And while she's buying grocery, I'll stand near the toy shop and I get attracted to the shops. And I will pull my mother there and tell to buy that particular, anything will attract me and I will make her buy. So she will not buy. And while coming back, I will fight with her. And the whole Saturday evening is bad for me. This Saturday, when I went with my mom, while going, suddenly I remembered what you have told, that yeah, you have to control your anger and desire. And I kept quiet. I went there near the toy shop. I turned my head and kept my mouth shut all the time. And while coming back, I was smiling in the car. My evening in the house was happy. And that small thing taught me I can control my anger and I can control my desire. So they themselves have their beautiful things to tell us. In fact, they teach us more than what is to be taught to them is taught by them to us.
Yeah, this is so beautiful, really beautiful. And, you know, how Sushruth a little while back was saying that it was wonderful to see how a primary teacher, a teacher of young children was born in Bhavna Ji while she's been teaching all these postgraduate students at JIPMER. So you know, and just listening to these examples, I guess this is the crux of what true education should be, you know, how to live your life, how to create a beautiful life, a harmonious life. And I wonder if you feel after having, you know, gained all this experience working with children of different age groups and again with adults, if you were to take these lessons to an institution like JIPMER or any other more governmental institution, you know, higher education or high school or something, or colleges, universities, will they be open to bringing this kind of an exposure to the students? I don't know. I would hope that day will come in India. So
I tell one thing, that my inspiration was so strong when it started before I went to the school, that I decided in a day I will speak about Gita to at least 5 people, anybody around, right from office staff to anybody, students, anyone where. I just said, no, 5 people I'll talk about. Do you know Gita? Do you know this is written Sri Krishna? So it started like that. So finally I could gather 30 students of first year MBBS. I told first, there was a parent who is working in my department. I told her son joined JIPMER. So I said, I just want to experiment. If you can cooperate with me, will you ask your son that can he come to me? I will just, only 19 days he has to give me. I will read Rhythm of Krishna with him. So that boy is fantastic. He's educated in Pondicherry only. His mom is also like simple people, not so much like, so he came all the 19 days, and there was the beginning of first year MBBS people voluntarily, if they want to come and join, we will give one day and time. So I said, you are senior, you tell your junior. So like that, we had till COVID, we had every year people who are willing to come. They will come. They will listen to Rhythm of Krishna all the days, but the number will shrink. First 30 people will come, and finally there will be 5-6 people. So I can take in my room, not in the lecture hall. That is after college hours, 4:30 onwards. So there was no difficulty, people, but suddenly their thing is, oh, am I wasting time reading? Am I wasting my time reading Gita? I should be reading anatomy. I should be reading. So the moment they are stolen by the burden of reading that medical college has, then I told, I have my postgraduate student, I found some defect in her. People say, is she mad or something? Some abnormal way of laughing, intelligent student, some abnormal way of reacting suddenly. So then I thought I was guide for her. I thought that, no, I must do something about, I must find out what is it exactly. Why people talk like that about her. She was very intelligent. With her work that I have done with her, I could go and present my work in Rome, Italy. I was invited to give that. She's so good. Only her MD exam is over. I requested her, please give me your 18 days evening, 1 hour. Or my funda is only 20 to 30 minutes. That is enough for finishing. And I found out her reason, what was wrong with her. Second, third day started crying incessantly, opening up what she is not told to her mom, nobody from childhood. That came out in her. And by 18 days, everything got cured in her. I first told, you must share it to your mom, because she was open to her mom and dad at home. It was from childhood problem that she had, which I don't want to say, but only cure by reading Gita for 18 days. Now she's married, she has children. And this Teacher's Day, she sent me, thank you for everything, ma'am. Just that note. So I think it is the person who is worthy will get it somehow to Gita. So we cannot stop anybody from Gita. But more like if we become more open and talk about it more, then people, firstly we remove, Sri Damleji told us, tell first day itself that it is not the religious book. Gita is not the religious text. It is a spiritual book. So it is to do, it is something which is not good. Don't take it into religion. Dharma is not dharma. Dharma is your duty in your life. Don't go into dharmic book. It is not dharmic book. So we first day itself, we take out that. And the last chapter, we take out about equality of caste. We take out from their mind. No ups and downs. All castes are equal. So much is required in this society about this also. So Gita is going to give it. And we have to be more open to it. That's all. A small inspiration came, but it is going. It is not in my hand. It is automatically. So I am not a doer of anything that has happened. But it's just going on like that. So I think there is definite light to the, before graduation itself, before you become a citizen, you should be given to become a world citizen idea that time itself. So it is important to me.
Yes, thank you. This is wonderful. Thank you for sharing the particular example. And also, I think the message that this really is it's a work that can help people go deeper within, and to kind of find whatever it is that is blocking their own progression, their own evolution in life. So, Sushruth, with this online, with this transition of Krishna's Butter project, from actual physical classroom to online, and this sort of wider popularity that this project has gained. Are you planning for any more works like this? I know you have written another book on rhythm of Veda called The Rhythm of Veda, and we'll be featuring some of the selections from that book as that work as well. But Gita has a much more psychological kind of a message. Is there another project that you are working on to take it
Yes,
to the?
yes, Beluji. Actually, this project is something which we do not want to let go. This is something which is requiring, I mean, like it keeps evolving only as we keep. We have now. We're trying to get better and better. And the fact Damliji has told is, none of us are teachers. We do not have to immediately become a teacher or shikshak, and we are sitting there. We are all trying to understand Krishna and these particular, like especially now for me in the adult session, many are much more experienced than me. They've got life experience. They have now 80, 90 years old. It's like they are like so many generations ahead of me. They have got insights. But here, when we are working, we are learning and trying to probably grasp as much as we can. So that way we are seeing still, I think Damliji's words are very strong. Much has been done, more remains. So in Krishna's Butter project only, we have so much more the aspect of, eventually we want to go to all the regional languages as well. Sanskrit translation is happening from English to Sanskrit now. It is happening, and the person who is translating it is corresponding with Damliji and getting it translated. Kannada is just now over. So we are trying to do that. As far as the adults batches, I have been taking continuously for 15, 16 sessions. So now again, I'm going to, it's like it was a role, but the real teacher is Kshetrajna, is Krishna only. So here, I think my presentation period is, I think, going to come to a pause now for the adult batches. After the current batch which gets over, I'm going to take my pen and paper, and I'm again going to sit in Krishna's classroom before we start again. This project started on its own. I never thought I would take more than one or two batches, but it is going to go on. We have future batches planned. Children's batches are, on the other hand, regularly many are going on. That is going to be a permanent thing. As of now, we are just trying to implement this as perfect as possible, as we do not want any other. When we started it, there was nobody who was offering these classes before. Some other organizational members came, tried to copy the same thing and implement it their way. We did not mind that, but what we wanted to ensure was our core of the project should not change. Nowhere, and people started offering certificates of completion. People started getting teachers who are qualified from the IITs and IIMs. Now that is fine. The qualifications are very nice, but for Gita certificate, only Krishna can give. He is the, and his certificate will not come on paper. He will give it a very different way. So that is what we didn't try to. People said you are not charging money. That's a problem. But we are not going to anytime enter into that. Some principles we have mentioned very strongly, which we do not want to deviate from. But there is much to be done. And as you said, like you said, aspiration is there. If we are freely teaching any organization which wants to, we are freely teaching them to, they can go ahead. But since we have published, Medam has published some scientific papers also on Gita. What we are trying to get a understanding among the scientific community of the scientific value. If not, you don't understand the scriptural value, understand the scientific value. And the journals now are talking about it. And that direction Midam is already working on. And if an organization is willing, we are willing to actually even tell them if they are able to implement this. But our aspect is again that the model must not change, because the psychological aspect of the child has been studied, how this concept has to be introduced. And when new teachers are enrolled, we have to take more care when the teachers are speaking, that they don't start teaching their version of their experience, and they become what we can say Gita pravachaks. And to children, children don't know, and it goes away. We do not want to lose that, so we are very much trying to ensure that the aspects of the Gita remain connected. We keep the rhymes also are opening. We are not saying that this is the only one interpretation. We have people following different spiritual translations of different great teachers, but there's no clash when it is the truth. Everybody connects with that. Everybody interprets according to their way. And I think, as Krishna has told, 18th Adhyaya, Yathechasi Tatha Kuru, when he is saying that to Arjuna, that you are free. So I think we are also, right? This is, I think Krishna has started, as long as Krishna wishes, it will go on. And the day he says, no, it should not go on, that also Damleji has told. You have to not have ahankar and say, no, 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 why are you telling us to stop? But so far he has not shown any indication that it is likely to stop. So we are going to go ahead. The English book the children's book is being translated to different languages. We have a name, not a project or agenda that we have to translate it into all languages in India, but slowly if it can go ahead, that is what we are working on. Apart from that, not much, but one idea we've had with some scientists, there are a lot of papers which are being published on Gita in scientific journals. If we take out right now, also you go to the PubMed and the index journal, you start type Bhagavad Gita, you will see page 1, page 2, page 3, American Journal of Psychiatry. If you go to European Heart Journal, also cardiologist has written about Gita in COVID times. So many people are talking about it. Why not, if some institution is willing to do a clinical trial, that is also something which we can think of how it can be done. The idea is there. But as of now, we want to ensure we don't deviate from the principles of the Gita, and so we are trying to establish that, keep the garbha of the project perfect. That is all Damleji has told us, and we are happily. I think it's an opportunity. I think more than that, as long as Krishna gives that opportunity, we are going to enjoy the makhan. That is all we can do. I think. Yes, Chief.
Yeah. I just listening to both of you, I get this feeling that this is really like sort of like an ahuti and an offering you are putting in this whole Gita Yagna that has been going on for last several years. Now, the first, if I remember, Bhavnaji, the first classes your start 2015, right?
Yes,
2015. 15. And so for the last 5, 6, almost 6 years, you've been working on and taking the message. It's really inspiring to hear from both of you the work that's been going on under the guidance and mentorship of Damleji. And like you said, with the ultimate source of all inspiration is the mother Sri Krishna and Sri Aurobindo, from where all this inspiration comes. So I wish we would have more time to hear more stories, more examples from both your experiences of working with adults as well as with children. But maybe if you have any more practical stories that you would like to share, we'll be happy to include that in the journal itself as, anecdotes along with when we publish the interview. That way it will be, give a more real taste to our readers and our audience. So I wish to really thank you from the bottom of my heart for spending this much time and for sharing your experience with this Krishna's Butter project. I had told Sushrit, I know that there are other projects, other works that he's been doing, but I wanted to kind of focus this conversation on this Krishna's Butter, really the young children. That's what, I think that's where the new India is going to be built. So with that, focus on that. So thank you so much for spending almost an hour with us and for sharing your experience. And hopefully we'll have you back with, here at Aurobharti with some other topic. I want to go a little bit deeper into Sushil's work on the Vedic deities as well. So with mothers, as mothers will, we'll take up that some other time. Thank you so much and have a wonderful rest of the day.
Thank you, Veluji. Jai Ma.
Jai Ma.